to myself.
I can't imagine finding quiet time in that stench.
They're only horses.
They're not horses. They're dung monsters with hooves and tails.
So, you were the right hand of the Divine and Liliana the left?
Yes. And if you joke about the right hand not knowing what the left is doing, I will punch you.
Me? No, I would never make such a terrible joke.
That whetstone you lent me, it produces a remarkable edge.
Celestine Black, they call it. It's the only stone I'll use on my blades. You know what? Keep it. I'll find another.
That won't be necessary.
Of course. They say your family almost drove the dragons to extinction. A shame. Majestic beasts.
Majestic? Say that after you see a pile of dragon shit bigger than your house.
So, an apostate.
That is correct, Enchanter. I did not train in your circle.
Well, dear, I hope you can take care of yourself, should we encounter anything outside your experience.
I will try, in my own fumbling way, to learn from how you helped seal the rifts at Haven. Ah, wait. My memory misleads me. You were not there.
You know, Solus, you do an excellent job of spellcasting without any concrete knowledge of technique.
Your rigorous training lays a solid foundation, true. It also creates boundaries, limits, where none need exist.
I do prefer to have boundaries between myself and the demons, my dear.
Of course. You endure the harrowing, where your circle teaches you that all demons attempt to possess you.
Not at all. Many of them simply want to kill you. I suppose you would claim otherwise.
Why should I? You would not believe me. You have learned your lessons all too well. The fact that I, an apostate, have not been enslaved by demons must be quite vexing, Enchanter.
Not at all, darling. You clearly have an exceptional gift for the Fade.
You flatter me.
I'm far more surprised you haven't been murdered by terrified villagers wielding pitchforks.
Yes, packing all the mages into towers and threatening them with Templars certainly kept them safe.
It did, until a rogue apostate destroyed Kirkwall's chantry and started a fight most mages did not want.
Your circle was a tightly clamped lid on a boiling pot. It held for a while, and unless you looked inside, it all seemed fine. Then everyone feigned surprise when it finally burst.
So, apostate, if the circle is such a failure, what would be your solution? Would you have your fellow mages live among the people, unguarded, unwatched?
Yes.
And when they became possessed, or used their power to harm?
I would kill them. Magic is more elegant than a blade or a bow, but a murderer remains a murderer.
So you alone would pass judgment, repay murder with murder, or do we open this up to mobs and vigilantes? If you're going to dispense justice upon violent mages yourself, you'll need eternal life and omniscience. If only there were individuals dedicated to finding and eliminating such criminals. Perhaps they might help.
I am certain they would, until black and white distinctions perverted their simple minds. Do enjoy this time, Enchanter. You may miss your freedom when you lock yourself back up in some tower.
Imprisonment is largely a matter of who holds the keys.
You so often come out on top. You play the political games brilliantly.
A compliment, although you speak it as a curse.
You could use those skills to improve the lives of your fellow mages. Instead, you have done nothing save consolidate your own power.
What if keeping my power might in fact improve the lives of my fellow mages?
You honestly believe the world is better off with you setting its course?
I need not be in the spotlight. But after watching others try and fail, why should I not have a turn?
Then, Enchanter, I leave you with the greatest curse of my people, Durtharamar.
What rustic elven curse is that, apostate?
May you learn.
You must be disappointed, apostate. Your rebels have not found the freedom they hoped for.
I planted no seeds in your garden, Enchanter. You grew that fruit yourself.
And I will once again ensure they are protected from a world that hates and fears them.
While mages live in deprivation you do not share, you lord their mystique over those not so gifted. Well played, Enchanter. In another age, you might have ruled an empire.
You are too kind, my dear, but this age is still young. You must be pleased, apostate. With the Templars dissolved, your rebels will be most difficult to pacify.
My rebels? Am I an agent for their cause? Whispering poison into the Inquisition's ears? How comforting.
You enjoy seeing yourself as a villain?
No more than any other clever man who wonders what he could do if pushed. But I meant you, Enchanter. How comforting it must be for you to see a traitor helping the rebels from within. You need never concern yourself with the possibility that your circle was wrong. It was fascinating to observe you at the Winter Palace, Enchanter.
I am pleased that such engagements are enjoyable for everyone. Even those with no grasp of subtler social interplay might enjoy the pageantry.
It is all pageantry, Enchanter.
Isn't everything? I do hope you were not mistaken for a servant at the Winter Palace, Solus.
Such mistakes are opportunities in disguise. Nobles say things around servants they would never say to Cassandra or the Inquisitor.
Yes. Anyone who wishes to play the game learns to use her servants effectively. Although I am surprised to see an elven apostate catch on so quickly.
My apologies. I shall try to live down to your expectations. Your position in the Orlesian court must be frustrating, Enchanter.
Darling, I have no idea what you might be implying.
With your magic, you are kept at arm's length, never able to play the game to its fullest. Some part of you must always wonder if you could have gone farther had you not been a mage.
Don't be absurd. Without magic, I doubt the Orlesian court would have any interest in me at all.
That must rankle as well.
The Grey Warden mages must be an inspiration, Solus. Free of the constraints of the circle, they have shown that they need no oversight to guide themselves. But then they behaved rather atrociously. What a pity.
I never claimed mages should be above the law, Enchanter.
No, darling. You merely implied it, while offering no viable suggestions for improvement. Corypheus is a complex creature to draw upon so many different sources of power. He has his own magic. He draws from the Blight. The artifact he carries is elven. And now he uses a demon to create a false calling to fool the mages.
The false calling was Blight magic. The demon merely amplified its power.
This ancient magister is like a man drinking from 3 wine glasses at once.
And one of the glasses is poisoned.
You disapprove of Corypheus using the magic of the Blight, Solus?
Every intelligent creature should.
Yet you raise no objection to the Grey Wardens using blood magic.
Blood magic is no worse than any other, properly used. But the Blight corrupts everything it touches. Those who believe themselves capable of using it safely are mad.
I understand that Grey Wardens are connected in some way to the Blight.
Then that explains why we saw no old men at Adamant.
You must be pleased with what was revealed at the Temple of Mythal, Solus.
Why should those ruins please me, Enchanter?
Now you know the elves were once a mighty nation.
I always knew, Enchanter. The Temple of Mythal is just another reminder of what was lost.
I confess, Solus, I expected you to be back at the Temple of Mythal. Some powerful magic yet remains there, if it can be trusted.
For once we agree. Many relics were lost for good reason.
You explore the Fade to ferret out such secrets, do you not?
When I awaken each morning, all I have with me are those secrets. The power at the Temple of Mythal is tangible, potent, and far too easy to misuse.
We are not so different after all, my dear apostate. We both believe magic must be limited safely.
Only a fool would ignore such a stark reminder of the destruction of an empire. We may disagree on many things, Enchanter, but neither of us is a fool.
You are too kind. Solus, dear, do you find your magic affected at all by the fluctuations in the Fade?
Nothing unexpected, given the energies emanating from the rifts. And you, Enchanter?
The same.
Do you require a mana cleansing to remove the residual energies on your staff?
The Circle's training in energy modulation is thorough. I sincerely doubt you could add anything.
So you intend for your staff to carry that particular aura?
Is that a problem, my dear?
No, as you were.
Solus, darling, if you wish instruction in proper magical attacks, do let me know.
I will. Perhaps you will direct me to a Circle mage who does not front-load her barriers. Tell me, Enchanter, do you even bother to explore the Fade in your dreams?
I prefer to explore the world I actually live in.
A pity. You could be much more powerful if you ventured outside your narrow preconceptions.
Ah, the temptation to leave the path. You sound like a pride demon.
Enchanter, any pride demon you met would just walk away, shaking its head and laughing uncontrollably.
Oh, darling, more than one already has. I'm sure you know exactly what you're doing, Solus, but a word of advice?
Oh, I look forward to this. Go ahead, Enchanter.
You set your coattails on fire with that last spell.
Perhaps what you perceived was merely a figment of the Fade.
I would not claim your familiarity with the Fade, but I recognize fire when I see it, darling.
It did go out eventually. It was not worth mentioning.
Not for you, perhaps.
Adathanas Elgara Masula Eva Vanan. Excuse me?
Excuse yourself. Whatever you said and what I did, same difference to me.
I'd hoped, well, our people can sometimes feel the rhythm of the language, despite lacking the vocabulary.
Uh-huh. Know what else is good? Words that mean things. Like these. Words.
Then heed it, Lhasa. What color is the sky, Sera?
Hang on.
It is an earnest question. What color is the sky when you look at it?
You know, blue mostly. Except for the breachy bits.
And when you looked past the breach? As perhaps you were drawn to do.
Greenish? And clear a long ways and kind of felt like falling. Ugh, makes my head hurt. You make my head hurt.
We are not so far apart, you and I.
We will be. Weird.
Sera, what are you feeling?
Oh, here we go. It's nothing. It just feels like I've seen this. Exactly this. It happens.
Not to everyone.
It's not an elf thing. Inquisitor's not shaking. I suppose now you'll switch to how I'm the same but different.
You are different. You are the furthest from what you were meant to be.
Well, I've definitely heard piss like this before.
It is a shame, Sera, that you were denied an elven life. Even one as patchwork as the Dalish interpretation.
Who said I was?
Were you not orphaned young and raised by humans?
Oh, you think the only reason I'm not elfy is because I had no choice? Poor me, right? Well, I've seen, I know, elven life is backwards and boring.
It is said that we lived at a pace that sustained us for ages.
Well, you go sustain yourself. It sure doesn't sound like living. So, you and the Lady Inquisitor. Interesting.
Your interest is not my concern.
That's all right, because I meant boring. The elf always totes the elf, so bumping bits will mean something.
It is not a topic for discussion.
Oh, come on, drop 'em and rebuild the Empire. Fwah.
Sera, no more.
Fine, whatever.
Don't concern yourself, Vanan. She is apart from herself.
You're ridiculous.
Not me, it's him. And you.
Only one of us is looking sad and foolish, Sera.
Oh, go twang your ears. What? Nothing? Like I thought, no fun.
Think what you will. It is clear I am not here for you. I am not surprised you were drawn to the Inquisitor, Sera.
Why? You fancy her too?
I meant that it seems natural you would desire another elf.
Hey, Inky, was I jumping you full on, or did I say something about you being elfy?
You were hesitant about me.
I know, right? And you're so good. She really is.
You were that concerned she was your own kind?
That's personal. I'm not getting into it.
He made it a thing.
Quiet, both of you.
As you would have it.
Nothing. She's shy like that. Point is, I'm with her because she's her, not because she's elfy.
You dislike your own kind so much?
My own kind can be a bit of an arsehole.
I heard about your organization, Sera. I am impressed.
Is this a trick?
Hardly. But it is an opportunity. You have already divided your group's membership. That is wise. No one cell can betray all your secrets. The next step is to establish a rhythm. When your enemies pursue, you vanish. When they become complacent, you harass them. When they are weak, you strike in earnest.
Where'd you get all this, then?
Do you wish to be unnerved by another tale of my explorations of the Fade? Or do you wish to learn something?
I don't know. Neither?
Once you have the aristocracy weakened, Sera, you will have to redirect your lieutenants.
Oh, this again. All right, what am I doing?
Some of your forces, valuable until now, have no interests beyond creating a disruption. Chaos for its own sake. They must be repositioned where they can do no harm, or removed if necessary. You replace them with organizers willing to build a new system and carry out the ugly work that must be done.
What? Why? What ugly work?
That is up to you. Do you wish to destroy the nobility, secure a title, or change the political structure entirely?
None of it. I don't want any of that.
I do not understand you, Sera. You have no end goal for your organization.
Nobles get rattled, and people get payback. I play in the middle.
Why not go all the way? You see injustice, and you have organized a group to fight it. Don't you want to replace it with something better?
What, just lop off the top? What's that do except make a new top to frig it all up?
Forgive me. You are right. You are fine as you are.
You hurt my head sometimes, Solus.
Yes. I have been known to do that.
Don't you start.
I am reasonably certain I said nothing.
Don't have to. You're all fluttery from that Mythal place. Oh, Tevinter took our stuff. Except turns out elves did it themselves. Oh, isn't it important how grand we were?
You cannot upset me with what we found there.
Oh, why's that?
Because, Sera, my genuine sorrow for the tragedy of our history cannot be diminished by a single moment. That you do not feel this, well, you have my envy and pity.
Well, you just... shut it. Think I could find some sentinel breeches?
Do I want to ask what for?
So I could wear history on my butt. Butt history.
Our people used to be here. It is more true than you want to believe.
I bet, right? Who wants to think about stepping on dead elves?
Dean Elven Emahim.
Yeah, you felt that one. Hey, Solus, how'd you say excuse me in Elven or whatever?
For you, it would be Ara Seranama. It is coincidence that your name is within. The base form is common.
Thanks. And now when I don't say it, you'll know it's on purpose. Hey, Solus, droopy ears says what?
Excuse me?
Ugh, you're no fun.
Have you ever had any interest in learning magic, Sera?
Get off.
While it has not manifested naturally, there are ways to determine whether arcane gifts lie dormant within you.
What? Don't make me think about that. I have to sleep at night.
Sleeping would give you the chance to explore the Fade. I could introduce you to spirits.
Right, you're messing with me on purpose.
Why would I do that? It is not as though I know who filled my bedroll with lizards.
Fair point. That was pretty good.
Sera, if you eschew all things elven, why not a crossbow? They require less training.
Ugh, too winchy.
Ah, yes. Winchiness. A point I had not considered. Sera, I noticed in a recent fight, you killed someone I was already dealing with.
You were doing it too slow.
Just to be clear, you wish me to manipulate the delicate balance of the primordial energy of the Fade faster.
You're not making it worse. It's bad enough you people do that at all. Not you, Inky. You're all right.
That seems unnecessary.
My dear, kindly shut it.
Ugh. You can make magic anywhere, Solus. Ever piss it by accident?
No. Wait. No.
What? How would you not remember something like that?
We were all young once.
Skyhold. How did you find it?
I looked.
Now you sound like coal. You looked?
This world is full of wonders for those who seek them.
I am sorry about your... friend. Losing someone is difficult.
Thank you. The death itself was less painful than what came before. Seeing a good spirit twisted. Its nature defiled. Those mages knew nothing of my friend. Worse, they did not care.
I don't know what to say.
Nor will you, until you've seen ignorance snatch away all that you love. Pray such a day never finds you.
What happened at Redcliffe? Have you ever seen its like, Solus?
The distortion of time. I have seen magic accomplish many things, but no, that is new.
Magic has little place in a war between men.
Many mages are brutes, seeking nothing more than a larger ball of fire. But those with imagination, those who use war to push the limits of the possible.
I wish the Chantry could better enforce restrictions against its use.
Such rules never hold. Any who want victory will find some reason their cause merits exception. The best we can do is ensure the world still stands when this fight ends.
Those Red Templars. How could any soldier let that happen to him?
They were Templars.
I suppose you might look down upon them, as a mage.
It is not looking down upon them to recognize what they are. Some, like Sir Barris, are thoughtful soldiers doing what they believe is right. The rest? Younger sons, petty criminals, thugs, bullies, orphans. Either they are accustomed to a life without choices, to following even the worst orders, or they have learned to enjoy causing pain, to leap at any chance to swing a sword harder.
Valroyo, huh? I remember the first time I visited it, some 30 years ago. The market was not half as large, without the garish statues, and far fewer stands selling those ridiculous frilly little cakes.
The Valroyo market was once nothing but tents of oiled leather and mud, filled with ragged humans, selling strings of beads made of bone.
You saw this in the Fade?
Yes, I left that memory quickly. The smell.
Must have been ages ago.
Oh yes, it's much better now. I enjoy the frilly cakes. Your order, the Grey Wardens.
Not my order, as you well know.
Of course, but you may still have an answer.
What about them?
The Wardens see themselves the world's defense against the Blight, do they not?
Yes? Why do you sound so skeptical? Doesn't everyone know this?
When an archdemon rises, they slay it. What will they do when all the archdemons are slain?
Retire?
Without archdemons, there can be no Blights. Is that the reasoning?
Right. Where are you going with this?
Nowhere. I hope they are correct.
Sera and I were just talking about you. We need you to settle a question for us.
Sera's involved, so this question will be offensive.
Yes, probably. Sorry. Solus, I have a question. It's probably going to earn me a fireball to the face.
But you're going to grit your teeth and work through it.
You make friends with spirits in the Fade, so, are there any that are more than just friends? If you know what I mean.
Oh, really?
Look, it's a natural thing to be curious about.
For a 12-year-old?
It's a simple yes or no question.
Nothing about the Fade or spirits is simple. Especially not that.
So you do have experience in these matters.
I did not say that.
Don't panic. It'll be our little secret.
Ass.
Now who's 12?
I will remember this, when it is over.
This war? The Inquisition?
The people. How you fought against the tide. It is courageous.
Elf root. Do elves just call it root?
No, we have another name for it.
Well, that's no fun.
You spend too much time with Sera.
You've seen many things in the Fade. How do you know they're true?
I don't. Everything in the Fade is a memory. And memories are all too easily muddied. Just like your history books. They contain truth, but reason and sense are required to extract it. I heard you in the training yard this morning.
Oh, I was running new recruits through some drills. Should I be quieter next time?
No. It's fine. Children don't learn unless you shout at them.
You remind me of someone I used to know. He was fascinated with the Fade and spirits too.
A mage?
No, just a man who liked eating these strange purple cactus berries. I don't think he was ever actually in the Fade. Do you have any advice for fighting demons, Solus?
Survive the first 30 heartbeats, and you have already won.
So I should try not to die. Helpful.
I mean that demons are rarely intelligent enough to change their tactics. If you focus on defending yourself, you will see the full range of their abilities within the first 30 heartbeats. By then, you should be able to find a weakness and exploit it.
Ah, that is helpful. I will try to remember that.
Also, try not to die.
I just realized I've never seen an elf with a beard.
You haven't seen many elves, then.
You haven't said much to me since, well, you know.
There is little to say. I assumed we were alike. We'd seen war, knew its terrible cost, but understood that it was necessary. But there was nothing necessary in what you did. You did not survive death and destruction. You sowed them to feed your own desires.
I know that. I see it every time I look in a mirror. I tried to make up for it.
By wearing another's skin. You ran away rather than face what you had done. You wasted your time. I wish to apologize for what I said to you, Blackwall.
You were right, though. I deserved it.
My people had a saying long ago. The healer has the bloodiest hands. You cannot treat a wound without knowing how deep it goes. You cannot heal pain by hiding it. You must accept. Accept the blood to make things better. You have taken the first step. That is the hardest part. So, you and the Inquisitor are together?
Yes. Is that a problem?
Far from it. People should seize any chance for a moment's respite in times such as these. I am glad you have allowed yourself some happiness.
I expected you to think I should keep punishing myself.
I would be concerned if you forgot your past, but that seems unlikely. Beyond that, guilt is a distraction, one we can ill afford.
What of you, then? Have you found someone to share a moment's respite?
I find my peace elsewhere. You have seen a great deal of battle.
We all have.
Not all. Not like you. You live and breathe war. You understand it. It is home to you.
What's that supposed to mean?
I intended no offense. We have both seen terrible things. We have watched death and destruction render that which we love unrecognizable. It is calming to see something familiar in another.
You spoke of seeing death and destruction. Did you fight in a war?
There are struggles across Thedas at any given time. I doubt you would have heard of it.
An elven skirmish?
In a manner of speaking. And you?
I was a soldier, and well, you know how it is.
I do indeed.
For all your experience, Solus, you don't carry yourself like a soldier.
You should have seen me when I was younger. Hot-blooded and cocky, always ready to fight.
Ah, youth.
It is a delicate balance for those who fight. If they lack sufficient passion, they never become truly skilled, and die or leave the life.
But too much passion and they end up dead, or monsters better off dead.
Yes. It is a rare soldier who can fight without letting it define him.
I've heard things about you, Vivi.
It is properly Madame Vivien, official mage to the Imperial Court.
Yes, that's what I heard. Not the title, the snotty bit.
However shall I recover from your condemnation?
You're still doing it. Can you even shut it off?
For you, my dear? No. If I might be so bold, Inquisitor, is this the company you would present as the Inquisition?
I know, right? You people are weird.
Thank you for illustrating the point.
What, you think you're better than me?
It's nothing personal, dear. I am demonstrably better than most. That you so thoroughly prove it is hardly my fault.
Pretty sure she thinks she's better than me.
Oh, this is truly, truly sad.
Took your knickers, Vivi.
I purchased more of a higher quality.
Well, you're not doing this right. Checked your drawers recently, Vivi.
Oh, yes, my dear, although I was rather well stocked with that particular shade of viper, so I sent it back.
Sent it back?
Yes. It should make its way to you at some point. I was most concerned it might have difficulty on the steps, so I gave it legs. 6 of them.
That's not... You're making fun, right?
Do you sleep with your mouth open? I should avoid that. It was heavy with eggs. Skitter, skitter. Skitter, skitter, skitter.
Friggin' stop it, witchy pisser! Enjoying your food lately, Vivi?
Ugh. Shall I assume you have altered my meals, set the servants against me and encouraged sputum-based rebellion?
Of course not, I would never. But you can't know, right?
Rest assured, I will eat privately from my own stores from now on.
Whose idea was that, then?
And whose little plan was that?
Whose idea?
Mine!
You're welcome.
My idea. Shut it. Cruel bunch, your lot, Vivi. Don't know how you live with what they think of you.
My dear, despite your egalitarian protests, you are ever so susceptible to the opinions of others.
I don't give a squirt what anyone says.
Of course not. Coherent speech is your nemesis. But it is clear you care a great deal about what they think. Take heart that you are not among the nobility, little Sera. You would not survive.
No one wants to join your stupid club.
Of course not, dear. I assume you were properly impressed by Halam Shiral. It is rare to be welcomed in the halls of power.
A golden shitter. Their servants come down the streets to drink the abuse away. You can have it.
Oh, I will. And I'll be sure to entertain your requests for orphan salve or whatever you're championing on the day.
You all think no one can touch you, but I say a kind word to a butler and I'm in your vault, because he hates you.
And I'll fill it just to watch you scurry from the gutter, again and again and again. Big vault, little elf.
Yes, well, everyone says you're fat.
I hope, Sera, that you have considered what damage your dalliance with the Inquisitor will do to her standing.
Oh yes, please run your mouth.
I didn't expect an invitation.
No, go on and on about how I'm not good enough, even though she makes me happy and it has piss all to do with you. And then, when you're all smug and done, I'll show you how my boot learned to shut a mouth in a Denerim alley.
Ah, that was sort of romantic.
Yes, how utterly charming.
On this, try me.
That's enough. Vivien, this isn't up for debate.
Of course, Inquisitor.
Sera, relax.
Fine. That's right, conversation over. Because it better be.
Sera, dear, I couldn't help but notice you took to collecting spiders after the jaunt through Adamant.
Some people saw spiders in there. I thought they'd be useful.
Adorable, but manipulating fear is a touch more complicated than hoping Corypheus recruited a legion of arachnophobes.
You don't need to be afraid of spiders to not want them in your small clothes.
Oh, yes, we will be testing that in a most intimate manner.
Ew, you're just not right. I bet you left a trail.
Whatever are you on about now, dear?
What you used to be. Wherever you're from. Little people will know about you.
We all have something we used to be, haven't we, dear? Done things we would rather let die than have known? By all means, escalate, but I will answer in kind, armed with painful history I am sure is better left to your own sad memory.
She's friggin' evil, she is.
I have something for your silly group, Sera, dear.
Right, I bet you have plenty.
A simple note for your Red Jenny associates. I believe it may point to anonymous holdings of one Lord Samarath.
I know him. Pisshead's hard as ice with his people.
Indeed. It would be a shame if his involvement in certain activities was revealed, his position at court weakened.
So we hurt a real prick, but you swoop in. We help people, but it helps you more. Arrgh.
Try not to cry openly, dear. It's ever so demeaning.
Everyone, look away. I need to find a place to pee.
Could you be more of an embarrassment in what the Inquisitor and I are trying to accomplish?
Everyone look over here. Vivien needs to pee. Hey, Viv. Vivi, look at this. I got something for you.
Darling, it's your bottom, again. As bony and sad as it was the last dozen times you displayed it.
It's my butt.
Maker, however shall I endure this horror? Someone fetch me a fainting couch.
They'll never really like you, Vivi.
Sera, dear, whatever has your scattered mind conjured now?
The knobs in Orlais. They barely like their own kin, and you're a mage.
Your failing, among many, is that you presume I desire approval. Power does not require that I be liked.
Well, halfway there, then. Who's a bitch?
Charming.
Fact. I sent a box of rabbit raisins to some Lord What's-His-Tits in your name.
That explains the letter of gratitude. They were, by all accounts, delicious.
Ew! Ew! Ew!
You underestimate both the fragility of his holdings and the severity of tribute demanded of him in the past. Perhaps he was grateful it was not a stew made of some lesser cousin.
That's lies, right? Must be lies.
3 keys to locks that have been changed, a schedule for a journey not taken, and 2 names of servants no longer employed.
I don't know what you're on about.
The now useless items passed to you by those in my employ. I do hope you have alternate plans for the evening.
Joke's on you. I only had 1 key. You're not so scary, Vivi. Maybe I can't bug you, but you can't bug me neither.
My dear, I have not attempted to bug you.
Yes, you have.
I assure you I have not.
You really well tried and it hasn't friggin' worked. Got it?
Of course, Sera, dear. I understand completely. What is that horrendous smell?
Nothing.
Where is it coming from?
Nowhere.
Are you all right, Lady Vivien? In our last fight, I saw you take a blow. If I'd been there quicker...
Oh, aren't you precious?
I appear to have offended.
No, dear. You couldn't possibly offend me.
What fault do you find with me, Vivien? I've tried to be civil.
Darling, your civility has so little to do with your faults. I wouldn't let that trouble you.
Then what am I doing wrong?
Just keep hitting things, my dear. Don't worry your little head about the rest.
Evidently, I offend you just by existing, Vivien. What is it you want me to do?
I'm sure I don't know, darling. Do you imagine I spend all my waking hours worrying about your self-improvement?
Look, I wasn't trying to imply that you...
My dear Blackwall, there's nothing you can do to make your order relevant to our present situation. You really must stop assuming everything is about you. It's unbecoming.
How can you possibly dislike the Grey Wardens, Vivien?
You can't seriously ask me that after what happened at Adamant. Where shall I start, my dear? The blood magic? Human sacrifice? Demon summoning? Or the part where they serve Corypheus? Really? How many people do they conscript in the name of vigilance against the Blight? Hundreds? Thousands? For a threat that recent history tells us can be successfully ended by just 2. Yes, they certainly are heroes, and not at all a wasteful relic of a bygone age. Whatever could I find objectionable?
Say that again when a Blight's at your door.
How ironic that I thought you were irrelevant as a Grey Warden, and you weren't even that!
Ah, the lady finds me funny. I have some use after all.
From Warden to Jester, what a tremendous journey.
You don't need to remind me that I was lying. I always knew what was underneath. More of us should.
Darling, none of us need to know that much about your small clothes.
Indeed, I count myself quite lucky. Few of us have the privilege of setting aside our masks, don't you think?
Well, you two seem to make each other happy.
And? Surely you're not ending this on a complimentary note.
I was just wondering how you imagined your future. The Inquisitor and the... well, whatever you are now.
Ah, I see. You think we're a poor match. Lady Vivien, that woman there will stand with Thaddeus's mightiest because of who she is. She may choose whomever she pleases, even an undeserving nobody. Envy her for her ability to love freely, but recognize that envy is what it is. I am sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I do mean it, despite our differences.
You're very kind, but you needn't concern yourself. Did you think you were being subtle, Blackwall, darling? Half the servants are talking about it.
I have no idea what you mean. I occasionally have business in the Great Hall. We all do.
No doubt Josephine is delighted to have a dirty mercenary with a history of deception watch her from behind a pillar.
Despite what you think, I am not stalking Lady Josephine.
How in the world would anyone possibly think such a thing? It's not as if you shadow her, badly, around Skyhold at all hours, without speaking a word. But if you wish her to call the guards, by all means, continue.
So you'd rather I just talk to Lady Josephine?
Of course not. I wish you'd stop bothering the poor dear. There's no need for you to terrorise and mortify our ambassador when you're pathetically far beneath her. I must remember to send a thank you gift to the Marquise Tremaine. Something delicious, perhaps?
I'm sorry, were you saying something to me?
Of course not, my dear. What was that wonderful restorative Bastien had? The one with violets.
The Heart of Spring, from Vachel.
Yes! Wait, how do you...
I wasn't always a drifter. You enjoy mocking my involvement with the Inquisition. What about yours? People like you, nobles, you send men to do your dirty work, your killing. And here you are, getting your hands dirty. Curious.
There is nothing curious about it. So much is at stake. Why would I leave any of it to someone else?
Why do you care so little for those in need?
You presume to know my feelings?
It's obvious.
I merely believe the world's problems are more complex than you imagine. I could travel the whole world righting wrongs as you do and still accomplish nothing in the end.
Changing lives is hardly nothing.
You are naive. And arrogant if you think passing through a life has the power to change it. I wish we had more proper chevaliers in the Inquisition and fewer low-life thugs.
No matter how much you pretend I'm furniture, I'm still a person with ears that can hear you.
You recognize yourself there? Good.
You know, I do have to admire you for your poise.
Yes, I imagine you do.
And I look forward to the day when that veneer crumbles.
We do have facilities available to the Inquisition, you understand? Bathing shows common courtesy to one's travelling companions.
But I'm an ill-bred vagabond from the woods. Common courtesy is beyond me. Would you like a silk handkerchief to wipe the mud off your greaves, Lady Vivien?
It's just mud. Mud bothers me as much as your clumsy mockery, which is to say, not at all. Will you put your shield down? The light glinting off it pierces my eyes.
Says the woman encrusted in crystals.
They are fine quality crystals.
You must miss the comforts of your mansions, travelling with us as you do.
I miss them. I do not require them. But please continue to imagine me a pampered lady if it makes you feel superior.
Do you have no sympathy for the Mage Rebellion?
It's not as simple as you think, my dear.
I understand that mages are dangerous. I know that if I had to face you alone, I wouldn't stand a chance. But must it be more complicated than treating people the way you'd like to be treated?
You're right in one thing. You wouldn't stand a chance against me.
Look at you, all serious. What do wardens do when there's no blight anyway?
Whatever it takes to keep the world safe.
Like join Inquisition.
If that's what's necessary. Hey, you're here too.
The Inquisition can't be all broody beards like you and Cassandra.
She doesn't have the hair for it.
Oh, I bet she does. Places.
That's enough.
Knew it! The kitchen wouldn't give me cakes because Josie, oh so prim, was sending them to allies.
Ah, why cakes when you can give them a two-fingered salute and a box full of dog shit? You know I hate the aristocracy as much as you do. I hate that they sit in palaces sipping wine while people starve outside their gates. I hate that good soldiers die in senseless wars over who gets the fancy chair. Still, it's better to have the nobility on your side than not. They're dogs, all of them. And even the primped and powdered ones have teeth.
Box of dog shit. Oh, that's a good one. So, I've been thinking. No jokes, the lot of you. I thought Josie was kissing arse, getting right up in there. But she's actually been fooling knobs all along. Good too.
Milady's adept at her special brand of warfare.
All smiles and pleases, like giving us their stuff. Does them a favour twice over. And they love her for it. Best idea ever. Have to steal that one.
Yes, Sera. You go right on ahead.
Still on about my Lady Josie and her tricky tongue, and I've been thinking again. Shut up. Here's how I'll do it too. I find a knob right, and I seduce him.
You'll what?
I worry where this might be going.
Wait, not done yet. He thinks he's being seduced, but when it's time for slap and tickle, I jump up and say, I like your wife better.
And the goal would be?
He thinks he's in charge, but he isn't. I am.
I don't know what to say.
Then I'll punch him to make sure he gets it.
Oh, Sera. I do love you. Hey, when this is all done, if you ever need my help for anything, you just ask, all right?
Knew it. Knew you could be one of us.
Us? That Red Jenny thing, I didn't mean.
It'll be brilliant, right? You can flip some tables, show some knobs your arse or something.
No one needs to see my ass.
I know!
How are you two?
Me and Inky. Good, yeah? I mean, I'm aching. She's a handful. 2 of them. I mean, look at her. She's just so smooshy. Everywhere. I mean, we're bony, so it's a little clackety-clackety-clackety. I mean, she's a leader. She has tension, and I get it gone. I mean, could be naked more. That'd be better.
Sera!
Sorry. Too much? Too much. She's quiet. Bet she's turning pink in places. Oh, didn't you have something for her? Sorry.
Not really. Nothing serious.
It's not about you. Probably just parts. Like the beard and the parts.
That is me.
Oh. Right. Huh.
Hold on to it, Sera. Good things in wartime are rare as hen's teeth.
Who went looking for that?
Eh? Never mind.
Always knew you were up to something.
Sorry.
For what? Trying? Better than most ever do. I know what you did. You two, in the loft.
How did you?
Just do. 'Cause I know things.
Could we not speak so loudly about these things that you know?
Too late for that. You're the one scaring horses, getting hay up your nooks. Crannies.
Oh.
I don't get it. If you want to change, just change. Why this fake warden rubbish?
For one, people wanted me dead. being someone else kept me breathing. And then, knowing that people thought I was good made it easier.
You needed them to think you could, so you could think you could. You're smart, but you're sort of stupid. You didn't always have a beard.
I didn't emerge from my mother with a hairy face, no.
I saw a sketch of Todd Reynard. No beard.
Warden Blackwall had a beard.
Oh, that explains everything.
You were in Denerim during the Blight, Sera. Did you see many Grey Wardens?
Not a one. Not in person. They were killed or something.
Or something. Betrayed while defending a nation.
Right, well, I suppose there's worse, yeah?
Yes, there certainly is.
Oh, I didn't mean... You know, beardy people are supposed to be jolly. Because if they're not, I'll yank it. Understood?
Understood.
Right, well, I suppose there's worse.
Is there?
Well, yeah. Could have died defending some Poncy Fool's hat. Or stepped in shit. Was it raining? Could have been raining.
Point made. Could have been worse. So, trouble with you and...
Don't want to talk about it.
Right, right.
It's just frig. Friggin' piss-togging frig.
Uh-huh. Tavern later. We can drink everything. Pick you out a serving wench. Fine. You can pick me one.
It's rough, innit, Blackwall? But they come and go.
Sera, don't. Please.
Right. You're set on being sad forever. But then the sun friggin' comes up.
Yes, well, it's not that easy.
Didn't say it was. I implied I didn't care. Uh-huh, that's right. Implied. You better laugh. Had to ask Solus for that one. So, you going to squeeze up to her or not?
What? Squeeze up to who?
Lady Josie. I've seen you doing that nightly stuff.
Make us, Sera. No, stay out of it.
You're all shy. What, you think you can't treat her right?
No, it's not...
I'll show you. I just need a peach. A ripe one. Because if you do it right... Ripe. Down there.
Please, no peaches, ripe or otherwise.
Well, I can't teach you bananas. That'd be like showing you swords. Oh, remember, do not use it like a sword.
How do I make this stop? Right. How's it end?
What, the tavern tale?
Come on. You left off elbow deep in circumstances. That can't be it.
That wasn't her name, but yeah, that's as far as the story ever gets. Why are you complaining?
Because I can't stop thinking about it. I need to know the end.
Why would you want to stop? The whole point of the good bit is thinking about the good bit. If I tell the end, it ends. Bunch of moaners, this. Drag out the sad shit, yes please, but hang on to a good bit. Oh, can't have that. Freaking daft. Know what I hear? The only thing scaring nobles more than the baddies is being asked to help us. Typical, right? Wet and running the first sign of trouble.
I knew a duke who actually had a servant follow him to war with corks in case his bowels loosened. Called him his retainer. Did you know that in Ostwick they hold races with greased cheese?
That sounds daft as anything.
They butter up a cheese about the size of a small wagon wheel and see how far they can run with it.
I'd just eat the cheese.
It's culture.
Well, culture can get in my mouth. Beardy.
Fuzzhead.
Grand. Do all Grey Wardens have beards?
No, just me. I stole all the beards, and all the power held within. There can be only one.
Not really.
You should learn to watch your back.
Well, you need to... Your arse. No, your mum's arse.
Great. I'm glad we understand each other.
I once saw the Empress's arse.
Congratulations.
Well, I didn't. I drew it, and someone said it was a good likeness. That's a story about trust.
That breach. It's hard to look away from it sometimes.
Right, because you know what it looks like.
No, it doesn't.
You know. Hey, do you think they'll have pie when we get back? I could use a pie. Or 3.
That's a lot of pie for one person.
You'd understand if you've ever been hungry. In your bones hungry. I like you. You don't ask about elfy stuff.
Like you'd know what you're talking about.
Right, well. Is that it?
Dare I ask?
What you and Josie do? Is that it? I saw you sighing in the wall hole.
It's a casement and it's virtuous. Courtly.
Couple of weirdies.
Maker's breath.
So much waste.
Oh, unbelievable, isn't it?
What happened here is difficult to bear.
Such destruction.
Hard to accept this could really happen.
None of this explains how that mark was acquired, however.
He claims not to remember.
And you do not believe that.
It is too convenient.
Sometimes the mind buries what it cannot endure.
And sometimes the guilty lie. Let us press onwards.
Why'd you call her Seeker?
Because that's what Cassandra is. A seeker of truth. A sort of Templar. Didn't she tell you? I'll bet they didn't even introduce themselves properly, or mention who all these soldiers are.
The prisoner is accused of a terrible crime.
But you still need his help. Unless you're taking him into the valley for a brisk walk and some air.
So who are they then?
Cassandra and Liliana were the right hand and left hand of the Divine, respectively. They were the Divine's unofficial agents, doing things like gathering these soldiers.
For what purpose?
The Templar Order was once the Chantry's army, but it abandoned them to hunt mages. A replacement was needed.
It is more than that.
So she claims. Clearly the Divine had something in mind for them.
Let's move on.
So, you're a mage.
Kunari can be mages.
True, though every Kunari Sarabas I ever saw was kept on a leash.
The Dalish have mages.
I knew one once. Pretty girl. Had a thing for mirrors.
You didn't know?
I'd assumed if Cassandra's prisoner was a mage, she'd have announced it far and wide by now.
Questions yet remain.
Just not about his guilt.
We don't know why he was at the Conclave, or who he worked for.
So, why not ask? So you're not a mage, and presumably not a Templar.
Certainly not.
So what was a Kunari even doing at the Conclave?
Why bother asking? You can trust nothing he says.
You'd prefer to guess?
First, we deal with the breach. Then we learn the truth. We were delayed in Kirkwall.
By delayed, she means we were interrogating a dwarf.
A fortunate delay, considering it saved your lives.
There was nothing fortunate about it. If we'd been there, we could have... This might all have...
Why would you ask her that?
It was a simple question.
You don't think she's torturing herself about it?
You do not know me.
I think he's got you figured out pretty well, Seeker.
You'd probably have died along with everyone else.
Or stopped you.
You really want to torture yourself with what if, Seeker?
No. I want justice.
So the Divine's closest agent survived because of a convenient delay.
What are you implying?
Well, survival seems to be evidence. For some people.
He's got you there.
I don't have the mark. But point taken.
I apologize. I did not mean to cause you pain.
It is a question Liliana and I will ask ourselves for the rest of our lives. I assure you.
So you and Cassandra know each other?
You could say that. She stabbed my books.
I did no such thing.
She questioned me and then dragged me here to give evidence at the Conclave.
Which means you are now free to go.
You ever get the feeling you're not wanted? With all these demons, why haven't you called for help?
We have.
Would you wish to come to the site of so much death?
Good point. Still, if they knew there was a chance to close the breach...
They don't know that. And neither do we, yet.
We had Kunari in Kirkwall. A whole boatload of them. They were your typical cheerless sort, then they tried to take over the city and kill everyone. But I'm guessing you don't actually follow the Qun, do you? You're Talvishoth.
That's an excellent guess. Surprising you can tell something like that. Afraid I'll try to convert you to the Qun?
Well, you haven't recited a single quote from the Prophet Kosloon yet. So unless you're trying to stay on the Seeker's good side, I'd say that's pretty telling. Oh, seems you're as talkative as the rest of your kind, though. So let me guess. Fellow surface dwarf, maybe part of the Carta?
What makes you say that?
I can tell a proper Orzammar dwarf from 20 paces. Also, you have that shifty smuggler look to you.
You have keen eyes.
And an enormous mouth.
And clever hands. It's all part of my charm.
I'm not the only one with a shifty smuggler look.
Varric did not destroy the Conclave.
That you know of. We shifty smuggler types can be tricky.
Are you calling me a criminal?
You are a criminal.
Now, nothing wrong with being a criminal. Keeps the guards in business. I'll take that as a yes. I'm so pleased.
You are Dalish, but clearly away from the rest of your clan. Did they send you here?
What do you know of the Dalish?
I have wandered many roads in my time, and crossed paths with your people on more than one occasion.
We are both of the same people, Solus.
The Dalish I met felt differently on the subject.
What do you mean by crossed paths?
I mean that I offer to share knowledge, only to be attacked for no greater reason than their superstition.
Then you know us well enough to be careful.
Well enough to be suspicious.
Can't you elves just play nice for once?
It is silence, then. As you wish.
So, I take it you're from the Free Marches.
Oh?
Accent. I'm from Kirkwall, but you're from, further east, maybe?
That's quite the ear you have.
I'm all kinds of impressive.
Huh.
You just... Listening to me talk feels odd.
Bonsberg? Ostwick? This is going to bother me.
Is this another kind of interrogation?
Oh, I'm sure Cassandra has done plenty of that.
There's no point in asking, Varric.
So, are you innocent?
I don't remember what happened.
That'll get you every time. Should have spun a story.
That's what you would have done.
It's more believable, and less prone to result in premature execution. So, Solus, is it?
You've yet to come up with a nickname for me, I see.
I was thinking apostate, but that might make our seeker twitch.
It is also meaningless. With the circle of Magi gone, all mages are now apostates.
Yet none of them showed up to help.
Perhaps they do not see the bigger picture, despite it looming in the sky.
So let's say you fix this hole in the sky, Seeker. What then?
A new divine? Hopefully a new attempt at peace.
You think the mages and Templars will come together after this? Mighty optimistic. And that's assuming a new divine would even try. I wouldn't.
Of course you wouldn't.
See? This is why I stuck around. All the love and respect.